Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to our first episode of You Can't Disagree show.
Yes.
I'm your first Can't Disagree host, Steven.
Oh,
You like that, right?
I'm Zach. I don't know. We might workshop that. We might see what else we can come up with. Hi, how are you? I haven't talked to you in a little while.
I know. How's it going?
I'm pretty good. Oh, well, I mean, I guess I'm not pretty good because some really crazy stuff has gone on in the last 24 hours, but we're going to talk about that on the podcast proper, I think. But I'm excited I'm playing with this stress ball, this lion stress ball,
I like
get out all the nervous energy of being live in front of people on the internet, you know.
Right?
How was your break? You know, we're about to record our next podcast, and we haven't recorded an episode proper in like a month now.
Yeah.
So how was your break?
It was good. Exciting stuff happened. I mean, the Joel interview was fun, and then and we haven't really recorded anything since then, but it was good. Got a lot of reading, a lot of chilling out. Saw the family.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope we can actually get together and do something some point in a safe way.
Exactly.
And because this is the magic of a live pre-show, our guest is not here yet. We're going to have a guest soon, which is very exciting. That's totally fine. But I wanted to talk about what we're doing here, this live pre-show that we're going to do every week. Me and Steven always kind of chat for about this long of a period of time anyway before we do the podcast every week. And sometimes it's good stuff. So I thought it'd be good to broadcast it. And it's going to be a part of the Patreon that we're launching, which we're really excited about. And our guest is here, Steven. Our guest has arrived. So why don't you give an introduction of who is joining us today?
All right. So we have someone very near and dear to my heart, I suppose. But my mom is going to come on. She watches Community and she's pretty cool. But she often tells me she has some issues with the show. So she's going to voice some of her concerns today, I think. But I'm super excited. So without further ado, my mom, Mary.
Hey!
Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm in the show. Look at that.
Yay. Hi, how are you this morning, considering?
Good. I'm really good. I'm so glad to be here. This is very exciting. And frankly,
exciting.
It's been a long time coming. So.
It has been a long time coming. It's exciting. It's a little strange. So it's gonna be fun. We're gonna roll with it. We're gonna see how this goes.
Yeah. This is the other interview that you're gonna be really excited about.
Yes.
Later on, you're gonna say, you know, we had a couple of really great interviews this year, and well, this will be your favorite. But
a couple of great and one landmark interview that can't be touched.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
Right. Well, how does that feel? You are the follow-up guest to Joel McHale. That episode came out last week, and we're about to record the next one.
I can't believe it. That's really pretty cool. I mean,
he was really cool and laid back, so it's a lot to live up to.
Yeah, Ryan Seacrest guy was a real swell fella.
I'm not 100% sure that that I'll be as laid back or as cool, but you know, I did make some notes on a napkin, so
there you go. That's more than I do every week. So
way ahead of Joel.
I think Joel did that too. I think he was really prepared.
I love it.
So, Steven, why don't you tell people a little bit like about your mom while we're doing this? Just like what she does. We're about to record about Messianic myths and ancient peoples, which is a super weird episode. So maybe tell everyone why she's prepared or why she
qualified.
Has qualified.
Yeah. So my mom's really cool because not only is she wicked smart, but also she has experience in the religious field because both of her parents are ministers, and she actually has been intern pastor at a church and worked for Church of God Ministries or worked for religious organizations before. So she's well versed in. Also, I have talked about before how I was very grateful that I grew up in a home that kind of had two different religious backgrounds in it. So I got to learn a lot about both and kind of see the good and bad sides from all of it. I think this episode's kind of perfect to dive into some of that. And especially with everything that happened yesterday, my mom is definitely quite a warrior for social justice. And I know myself and other people included have appreciated kind of her viewpoint on a lot of things. So what a kind of perfect, time after that really terrible day yesterday to kind of, move forward and maybe educate ourselves a little.
Look,
Well
Steven
said.
gets a big heart. For
Yeah,
that.
well said.
Is
Yeah,
that what
just-
the young people are doing these days?
I don't think you're asking the right people.
Yeah.
I don't think we're exactly hip.
Oh, you guys are still young, and you're
Well,
still
I know we're
cool
young,
and
but I just
But
don't
we're
think
not.
we're cool.
Yeah.
I don't think most 23-year-olds are like, I talked to Joel McHale this week. You know? I think
Right.
it's cool, but it's a weird brand of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, welcome to the weirdness. I was watching some game show with my mom
Mhm.
the other day, and Joel was on there.
Nice.
It's that password show where they have to give clues and to celebrities, and celebrities try to guess the words. Joel's
Yeah.
not very good at it, but you know, that's all right.
Man's dyslexic. Give him a break.
Yeah, he's working on it. He's doing it. He's doing things.
But we're all being too nice because the focus of this is what you don't like that we do. And Steven makes it sound like it's mostly based on our community opinions. But I feel like of all the things we say on the podcast, that wouldn't be what I would think the issue would be. Right?
No. And so, like the Seinfeld episode, which is one of my favorites, by the way, and maybe someday I'll do a podcast about that, is the Festivus episode where they have to have the airing of grievances to start off the Festivus holiday. So let us begin the Festivus holiday with my airing of grievances. Okay,
I love it.
so grievance number one. Now, I feel like, Zach, you're a bit of a cinephile.
Okay. It sounds like the beginning of a roast.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Okay.
You have some serious jargon and opinions that come from being really good at watching films.
Okay.
And yet you have never seen Carlito's Way. And when I heard that on here, I thought, what is happening? And sometimes it's the things that you say you haven't watched on TV, and I'm thinking, what is this?
How do I know all these things without having seen anything? Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like Carlito's Way, epic opening scene that, is basically foreshadowing the ending scene. Just a nice little vehicle or tool that they use in cinema, and you haven't seen it. And every time I hear you say, "Oh, I've never watched that, I really should,"
I say that a lot.
Man, Zach, we gotta get that together.
And
that's just that's a minor criticism, but would you like to defend yourself as to why you have not seen Carlito's Way?
No, not really. I mean, maybe it's because we're children still, and I haven't really seen anything pre-2010, so I don't know. But I'm a little surprised of all the things I've mentioned not seeing that Carlito's Way is the one. I know I've mentioned not seeing Inception or like stuff like some of the 80s kids movies. I don't know. That surprises me.
Yeah.
Inception's one of those things, though, that if you had seen Inception, it would take over your conversations like High School Musical did, which brings me to another grievance.
What?
Oh, no.
Why?
You say like High School Musical?
Wait, why do you all have so many strong opinions about High School Musical?
I have some very strong opinions of High School Musical.
All the things in all the world that you could be talking about. And I've listened to you talk for 20 minutes of a community podcast about High School Musical.
We try to keep it on topic as best as we can.
It's rough. It's real rough. Okay. So
I think, on the High School Musical note.
Defend yourself. I'll give you
go ahead, Steve.
On the High School Musical note, I think that High School Musical came out when we were in third grade-ish, or third grade. Because I remember for my birthday, the summer after third grade, I got the High School Musical DVD, and I was very excited. The first one I loved.
Who got that for him?
Bad parenting. Mistakes were made.
It was all your fault. But after that great cinematic masterpiece that introduced the world to the likes of, Ashley Tisdale,
we already knew
Zac Efron, Vanessa Hudgens, Corbin Blue, Lucas Gabriel, and I feel bad because I don't remember the other girl's name. But
all of the stars' names.
Yeah, and then they put out that piece of trash that was the second one. And
Steve
it was
can't
awful.
remember the social media accounts for this podcast, which he is co-host of, but he remembers every single one of those stars' names.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, priorities. Priorities, my friend.
That's fair. That's
yeah.
And
well, I mean, I want
fair.
you guys to know that I love the podcast, and I really like listening. It makes me feel all warm and fuzzy to know some people who have a podcast, but also because I think, by and large, you're pretty insightful guys, even though you get it wrong a lot of the time. so
as far as High School Musical, I think as a kid who, older conservative parents, went to a kind of conservative religious school, and being like on the verge of being a little bit flamboyant of a person, I think it was just cater made for me. And
it was your Footloose.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. Yeah.
You're Footloose. Oh man.
Yeah.
Except instead of an empty garage, Zac Efron had a hissy fit on a golf course.
High School Musical had to be made for me to be like, oh, okay, I get basketball now. I get it. It's just like dancing.
The game.
Yeah.
It's the greatest game. I like
Hey,
that.
Pop,
You
let's watch a
fit.
round.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Okay, I'll give you a pass on that one. It's still
I don't know that
sad
pass
truth.
was earned, but I'll take
it. It's I'll give you a pass on that one because
You
of
saved us
the
there,
third
Zach.
grade nostalgia there, and because I did contribute to the problem. So there's another thing that I think that kind of has bothered me. I feel like there was a promise that was made, and that promise was not kept. And that promise was that you were going to institute a Stephen's Mom warning system.
Oh yeah.
And up to this point, I have heard some episodes where I didn't get a heads up.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack there.
A lot to unpack there, sure.
That's right. I knew that Steve liked that song, Stacy's Mom, which is a real problem, but he is a Stacy's Mom kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, Steve is what I call cougar fodder, because there are a lot of people who seem to want to run up on my son, and his grandmother's not real happy about that, by the way. But I just see it as, he's a young, handsome guy who looks a lot like his mom. And when you inherit these kinds of good looks and this magic, it can't be helped.
Yeah.
But there are times when I feel like the warning light, the warning bell, something should go off. It's a little rough. It's a little rough out there, Steve is kind of obsessed with some things that I'm concerned about. Also,
what could you mean? I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
this is gonna get deep. I'm down for
one
this.
of the worst days was when you talked about My Little Pony.
I can't back you up on that one.
Right?
Friendship is magic. I don't know what to say.
Right. If you were watching My Little Pony and doing a podcast, you'd get kicked off the internet. I believe Zach said that because he knows you, and he knows it probably would. I'm just saying, Steve.
This Patreon that we're about to start, we're going to do all kinds of side projects, and one of mine is going to be podcasting about nostalgic based stuff, either for myself or other people, and seeing if it holds up to an adult-ish lens. And so, sure, me and Steven could watch a handful of episodes of My Little Pony. And
great. I already have the episodes picked, Zach. I know
because I love animation. I can go into any the Lego movie just seemed like a shameless cash grab, and then it was amazing.
Oh my gosh,
I love animation. I'll give anything a chance. I'm not expecting much out of it, but I'll definitely.
But you won't give
Carlito's
Way a chance.
It sounds long. I don't know.
Everything except Carlito's Way. Okay. Yeah. All right.
I know we are airing grievances right now and discussing my internal issues, but the comments in the chat, lots of people saying hello. Somebody wants to know, the Schmoopy wants to know, Mom, if you will adopt her.
That one up a little bit earlier.
And
we'll get to some questions at the end. We'll get to some questions at the end.
Hi, everyone. We do see you. We love you all.
Yes, I'll show your messages if they're good. And if you do have questions, send them in the last couple of minutes. We'll talk about.
This is nice. There are people that are watching us. Yeah. This is really cool.
We have
a posse. My mom right now. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Look at
you're live on the air.
Yes.
You're acting
on
better
the internet.
He was not
great. Out there in these internet streets.
Yes. I will highlight my friend Drake in the audience says, TF is Carlito's Way. Do I need to check this out? I'm going to assume no.
If you could give us a 30-second description of Carlito's Way, why someone needs to watch it.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like Carlito's Way is the better Scarface. Scarface is really,
I haven't seen that.
a little gratuitous. You haven't seen Scarface either?
It's okay. Don't let it distract from your time. Don't let it throw you off. Don't let it throw you off.
Let it work. Okay, so Carlito's Way is about a man who is in love with a woman that could really change his heart and change his life, right? And all he wants to do is be totally worthy of her. And yet he's about that thug life. He's about those situations that, he's taken a dark path, but he wants to be worthy. So I think it's a good redemption story. And sometimes redemption doesn't lead to the thing that you hope it does. But I really enjoyed it because I think it was like I don't know, there was intensity, but there was some good drama. The acting was really good. I mean, I think that if you haven't seen it, you should sit and watch it because you'll get into the characters. I think you'll understand Carlito. Now, they made a sequel. I will not vouch for that. I will say that this is a movie that should not.
I didn't know there was a sequel.
There's more to Carlito's Way. I didn't know that.
I mean, that was a cash. Definitely. So I would say no. There's no reason for that to happen, but it did. And it's a thing that went on one day some time ago. So anyway, just watch it. I think you'll like it. Maybe you guys can watch it together simultaneously, while you look at Steve's anime wall back there. As a personal grievance that's outside of the podcast, I need to tell you that
this is very much on air. Steven, what?
Listen, he recommends very depressing things for me to watch. I try to engage in the things that my kids love because, I get really excited about these things too. But Steve will say, hey, why don't you just watch this, Mom? It's really intense, but it's really great. Okay. And then the next thing I know, I'm weeping on the couch. I'm just really angry. Okay. Sometimes I take a walk after I watch an anime show because I cannot understand A, why these people talk to themselves so much, B, why they're so mean to themselves when they talk to themselves, and C, why I hate everyone in them. I don't understand. And then it's never going to have a happy ending. Just FYI, you like somebody, you think they're great, but they Game of Thrones them in 2 seconds and they just gone. It's terrible.
You're a great mom because I haven't watched a single thing Steven has recommended.
That sounds about right.
I mean, we spend 5 hours a week on one episode of Community. So
it's true.
I don't know how he makes time for 80 episodes of Yu Yu Hakusho a day or whatever.
Yeah, this is there's a lot of togetherness that you all have. This apart togetherness. I don't know. Maybe you're going to start to look alike pretty soon.
You don't think we look just alike?
Yeah. We actually switched the names. You've been talking to Zach the whole time.
There hasn't been a Steven for months.
Yeah.
Okay, well, people are sending in really great questions that I want to get to. So let's hear I want to hear more grievances. What's wrong with our show?
Okay, so the next grievance, you're far too self-deprecating. You all are doing a great job and you're really hard on yourselves. So I would like to point to a particular moment.
Okay.
In season 1, it was episode 5 where you had the nerve to say, no, I don't think Joel McHale would do our podcast.
Yeah.
I think he'll stick to the ones that people are actually listening to.
Yeah. It was a different time. Yeah.
I believe in you.
Well, that's nice.
Like Michael said on The Office, you don't know how high I can fly. Exactly. I mean, I'm pretty sure that in that moment, you probably thought, Joel McHale's not going to want to come on here. But I was very disheartened by the fact that you said that. And then when he ended up coming on there, I was really psyched for you. So,
yeah, and we were so psyched too. Yeah. Twice. And the first person we got, I thought he would be one of the really hard gets.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think a lot of the self-deprecation is half serious, but to be funny, I think from the beginning, I thought we could take this as far as we're willing to take it, but you never know when you put something up on the internet. A lot of stuff just just goes and crash lands. Not everything finds an audience. We've been really lucky to find the audience that we have, and that it seems to be growing.
I think it all goes back to High School Musical. There's some bad messages there that make you feel like you're just not enough.
That is around when it started. You're right.
With that other Zach. You're competing with that other Zach.
Yeah. It's a tough competition.
It's tough competition. So another one of my my grievances is that, Zach, I don't ever hear you sing.
That's not really okay.
Now Steven will sing. He'll do a little sing-songy something. It's usually inappropriate, but he does it, and we love it. And I know that both of you were in show choir. And I remember Zach having the lead on Welcome to the Grand Illusion.
And I would like to say that is not, I like to think I've even improved since those days. I think my confidence certainly has. I'm in a musical right now. I just don't think that has much to do with the community podcast. And Steven's a very Steven's very much a jester, you know. He has like the curly Q boots and the bells on his cap, and he's got a spry in his step, and he's very a sing-songy person. I kind of like when I'm doing musical theater, it's like I put another face on a little bit. It's not really my personality when I'm laid back, and I like to think that even though I'm not very laid back at all, the podcast is closer to me just doing me, I think.
Okay.
But I appreciate the compliment.
I'm just airing the grievances, okay?
When we launch our Patreon next month, we're talking about maybe doing something musical. We're going to do like a live stream telethon kind of thing to try to get you all to give us some money. And I think if we make a certain amount, Steven and I are going to do a musical number together.
Well, I'm going to sign up for your Patreon.
Yeah, me too.
Sign up for your Patreon. I'm actually already signed up for Steven's Patreon, which is just Steven. But I'm going to signing up for your Patreon.
That's
too.
Really nice of you to support that, because I'm sure there's a lot of stuff on there you don't want to see.
Never look at it again. Yeah,
it's never look at it again. Just do that.
Steven's mom is the only subscriber on his own page. Okay, what else do we do wrong?
Okay, so the last three are really about the characters and how I think you consistently analyze the character's behavior. The first is Annie. You all worship her. And I'm telling you what.
I don't know if I think that's true.
I think you give her, she gets a pass on anything that she does. It's like, oh, and I think this is really nice of Annie. And I think this is really great of Annie.
When sometimes
Annie is deceptive. She's manipulative. And after all, we all know that Annie had a little period where she was on the sauce or the pills or something. A little bit of Adderall. Adderall Annie, right?
Annie Adderall.
Right. So the thing is that when you have that kind of behavior, you learn to manipulate. You learn to lie. You learn to be deceptive. So I think that her whole persona of being this girl who wants to follow the rules and who wants to be everybody's friend, it's all bullpucky. And I would like to say that when she tells Jeff who it was that got him fired because she learned it at an NA meeting, I was like, there's no way you all should have let her slide on that one. That was the worst. That was the worst. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Somebody's coming. They love Annie Adderall.
I feel like a lot of us
way too much Annie worship.
Well, no, I feel like a lot of us being so nice is because we definitely try to cater to the community fandom that are the people who listen to this podcast. And people love Annie, and people love Jeff and Annie. And honestly, I think all of the female characters are underrepresented to where it's easy to look for something. So maybe we are being too nice. But
Britta's crazy and she's racist.
All right.
Hey, I'm okay with a little racism, but
we brought your mom on after Joel McHale brought us so many listeners, and she's having them all run away.
It's like, yeah, if you like Annie, get out. I do agree though. Annie exposing stuff from an NA meeting was definitely a big thumbs down.
That was a big no-no.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, there needed to be some better loyalty there, and I think she could have controlled herself. There was certainly it certainly would have come out, and I think that other people in the group would have been wise enough to discern that, especially Shirley. She doesn't get enough credit on your podcast, by the way, but I do think that Zach.
I think she is about to today. I think when we record today, I think there's some good stuff to say about Shirley.
I think Zach's secretly in love with Shirley, but I can't prove it. I'm just saying.
It a secret?
It's maybe.
I'm willing to consider that notion. I've never thought of it that way, but
secretly. Yes,
okay.
he crushed on her a little bit.
Okay.
I think you're too hard on Jeff. But I'm going to tell you
I don't
why
think we
you're
can
too hard
be
on
anymore. Jeff. I think that's done now.
Right? I think you were too hard on him in the beginning because here's why. Every other character that you all seem to really like creeps me out at some point. Like the teachers that come in, the professors, I think they're kind of creepy. I think they've all got that vibe of we don't have good boundaries. We like to try to mess with students. We want to have relationships with students.
You're talking about Duncan. You're talking about Duncan, yeah?
He's nasty.
He's so funny though.
He's so nasty. And I think that I kind of wish he were the ass crack bandit because I'm very concerned that I think he would do it anyway. Just be like that. But
I don't think he'd be ashamed of it though. I don't think he'd try to hide it.
No, he wouldn't.
Everyone would know.
So I think you're just hard on Jeff. And here's the thing. Jeff is he's adopted a personality just like everybody else has to protect themselves from their childhood woes. I think he's more like a teenager or a little boy who's just discovering girls than
he's almost 40.
Man. Well, but now I think people stop at the age of their trauma and their issues, and sometimes they manifest characteristics from that age.
Okay.
Did Steve also mention that I was a psych major? So anyway,
at Harvard,
he just has this thing that I think he's really trying. I mean, and he's doing what most people do, which is they push boundaries with people that they love and that they care about because they keep testing the relationship. Everything about his situation has told him that nothing is stable. He can't count on anyone. No one's going to be there always. So he pushes boundaries. And I think he does that with this group. I don't think he could decide what he wanted to be with Britta. I think he would have continued to pick at her and to tease her if she'd never given him the green light. And I think he would have been okay with that. And it would have just turned into a sisterly thing. But she's a good foil for him because she's as much of a jerk as he is.
Yes.
You just don't often acknowledge that.
They bring out the absolute worst in each other in a way that can be very attractive. Totally. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched the show You're the Worst that Steven and I like a lot. It's very much two people.
The first couple of episodes.
It's very dirty. It's very dirty.
Episode, I don't think she wanted to watch after that.
But if you, especially as the show goes on and like second season onward, it's a really mature look at relationships of people who are bad for each other, but in ways that helps them together and in ways that, I don't know, and Jeff and Britta have a lot of that. I kind of like it just better when it's a sisterly thing more than a romantic thing.
They can be toxic siblings, but I think that Britta took a lot longer to let Jeff in and to really give him the comfort that he was accepted by the group. And I don't mind the Jeff Annie thing. I think too much is made of the fact that there's an age difference. Yeah, it's a little weird, but my goodness, have you ever seen Hollywood? I mean, how did Michael Douglas get Catherine?
I think everyone who dates should be the same age.
Right now, Zach Braff, who is 44, is dating Florence Pugh, who is like 24, and they live together. Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on.
And I kind of like Zach Braff. I wouldn't have think. I don't think too much of him.
It wouldn't bother me, right? But then I also think that you're really hard on Pierce. Now.
Oh, really?
I am a Chevy Chase fan from way back, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that anybody that was around in the 70s was above saying some really dirty things, had some body humor. And I like that word body. And he was like just kind of a jerk, right? So I can imagine him being a jerk. But he is Clark Griswold. So I got to give him points there. Also, it's hard to conform to a scripted comedy when that really wasn't what the deal was before. Now, I'll say that what bothers me about Pierce is that Pierce is a person who, if left alone, left to his own devices, would be like that awful old white dude that everybody is like, he's gross and we don't like him and he's nasty. But the reason why I think it takes so long for Pierce to get to a point where he actually says things that are okay, or he shows empathy or those other things, is because the group, they're not really nice and accepting. I don't think that they're
very much
at all. They're bad people. So when you figure he's allowed to be as bad as he is because they're bad people, they just think he's worse than they are.
Yes.
So it's kind of unfair to not give him the same like hope of evolution that everybody else had. Because I think that for Pierce, he may never be able to shed like all the nonsense of his generation, but I do think that what he shows for Shirley is this really pitiful attempt at friendship and connection because they relate to one another, which I think is one of the things that we should talk about with this episode too. Is that there are two arcs that I think run parallel and are very similar at their genesis. Bible word. Anyway,
Bible word.
For all the kids playing at home. So that's a shot.
We're running this a little long, so I want to get to some questions. Are there any other things you'd like to address? Because I would love to hear them if there are.
No, I will. I'll let you all go, but you do need to squash this beef that you two have. So just if you can squash
each other,
with
Dom and Andre, and Andre.
You two, listen, the beef you two have. Didn't you talk about that in season 1? You had a beef.
Yeah.
I think it's forever.
Us always doing this from separate rooms has nothing to do with the state between us or the pandemic. It would just get violent quickly.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to some questions because people have been sending in a lot of good questions. I'm going to put up. Pedro asks, what is Steven's mom's favorite episode of Community? Do you have a go-to?
Well, it's going to be A Few Paintballs More.
Wow.
Which I would also like to point out that Miss Annie is no angel. And I think that the other one I really enjoy is Dungeons and Dragons because I played Dungeons and Dragons with Steven's brother, and we are pretty phenomenal. Actually, he's really good, and then he just is my consultant for Dungeons and Dragons. So anytime I can bring together like comedy, Dungeons and Dragons, I'm in. Yeah.
One of our podcasts, Kevin Lanigan, who's been on our show before, he's been hosting community-themed, like shorter Dungeons and Dragons things that he's put together, and they live stream them. And the last one was like about Subway taking over the school or something like that. He puts a lot into it, and it sounds like it'd be a lot of fun to be a part of sometime.
Yeah. See, I think Starburns would make a great cleric. Just FYI. I think I could play a Starburns cleric. Yeah. With some I'd say lawful evil alignment, but anyway, just
totally
fun stuff. Yeah, I think
here's one from our community papa. He says, Steven's mom, what's your favorite joke Steven's made on the podcast? What does Steven do that makes you laugh?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, Steven laughs at his own jokes, which is what makes me then laugh. Someone's got to. I don't think that I've really seen that I've heard a really great joke from Steve.
He gets one every now and then.
You can be a star, Steve. You're still great. You're the best. I just I think that the jokes don't land as well as Steven hopes that they do, but I really do like it when he laughs at them. That's funny to me.
Steven, the more that we do this podcast and the more that we've started to do it with other people, I'm so glad I do it with Steven because he's the best like yes man. He's the best like backup man. He like won't let anything fall. He'll keep it up. He'll laugh. He'll ask follow-up questions. I think he does a great job. I love his personality.
He'll say, "Oh, absolutely. Absolutely."
Yeah. And I wasn't saying anything, but now it sounds like I did. Yeah, absolutely. It's the best.
I love it.
What else do we have? Okay, here's a good one. The Schmoopy, Steven's mom, can you tell one embarrassing story about Steven?
Oh boy.
Well,
I'm sure she
can. If I had been prepared for this question, I also would have brought photos, but embarrassing stories about Steven. Okay, so one night Steven wakes up with this little stomach ache.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Do you know where this is going already?
he's like,
possibilities.
then he says, I want some juice, or he wants some candy, or he wants something. And I'm like, well, you have a tummy ache, so we need to see what it is. And maybe it's gas. And I said, so if you would just, if you can pass a little gas, then you can have some juice. Well, he took that into at least another month of saying every time he would walk up to me, he would toot and then go, I passed some gas so I can have some juice.
You got to pay the troll toll.
That's this generation with their need of instant gratification, that participation trophy lifestyle, Steven. That's a good one.
I have many embarrassing stories, but some of them I'm saving for the rehearsal dinner and his wedding to the bride that I choose for him.
Zendaya and I are going to have a really lovely reception.
I would approve. I would definitely approve. And she's going to be in Dune, which is really cool.
Oh, really?
Yes, she is.
Nice.
Who is your mom's favorite character? Community character, main character, or side character? Just who's your favorite?
Okay, I'm going to say that my favorite character, honestly, is, oh man. Okay, I'm going to say it's Troy, because Troy reminds me a lot of Steven sometimes. Sometimes he reminds me of Steven.
That's fair.
I think that's gratifying to him.
Because he is a good-hearted person, but sometimes I feel like in the room when things are going on, I'm like, Troy's not going to get this, is he? But the whole Go-Gurt thing. One of my favorite conversations you all ever had was about Go-Gurt versus like Danimals, right, and the things you could drink, and saying, I was not a yogurt kid, I was a yogurt teen, like you were a latchkey kid.
Oh, man.
Led to your love of yogurt.
I was a late yogurt bloomer, but boy, did I fall
We keep
hard
things very specific to the episode of Community we're talking about. We never go on
I appreciate it though. I love it. It was great. And so I like Troy.
Steven's mom, what do you suggest for Zach's background? Joel schooled me pretty hard on the way my room is set up. And thankfully, hopefully soon, people will be giving us money and all this can go away. Right. What do you think I need?
You know what? My sister, when we did a Zoom call for a holiday, had something that looked like she was in a crack house. And I think that if you really want to raise money on this Patreon, you probably should put like a sad crack house behind you and be like, these are my roommates. And if you contribute to my Patreon, I can finally move out of the crack house.
There you go.
Get out of the crack house and achieve my dream of Community podcast. Yeah. Finally.
But I also feel like you could go with a space theme back there. It's got to be super colorful. Don't do a movie. Don't do Star Trek or Star Wars. Just go with
space.
like
I'm literally in space.
Yes, just a space, like colorful shooting places. I mean, get some movement back there. It'd be great. Or a giant cat that's behind your head.
I could just get my cat. She wouldn't like it, but I could hold her behind me the entire show.
You need to take a picture of your cat close up and then just put it behind you.
Okay.
There you go. I would like that.
I think next time we interview Joel McHale, he'll feel much more at peace if that's what he sees when he joins the call.
There's a disturbing cat peeking around from behind you. That's
all
great.
Right. We got to go record the show, so we're going to close it out with one more thing from Community. Steven's mom, can you get them to stop calling me Community Daddy?
Well, I was going to say something about that, but I thought maybe I would leave it alone because maybe you were okay with it. But I feel like the fact that they have a Community Daddy and no mom is really sad. I tried to step in and say I was the mom.
It's kind of more a sugar daddy situation.
Well, and that probably is problematic for him because how do you think he's gonna get anybody else to want him to be their sugar daddy if you guys are like, it's a community daddy?
Yeah, we're very territorial.
It's true. It's true. But I think you should get t-shirts with his face on them, and then you don't have to really say it, but it's still awkward. So
okay, well, the last
running long. I would say I do have one more question that I'm curious about.
Okay.
Yeah. You can put it up there, but like, what is your favorite episode of our podcast?
I think more moment to moment.
Okay, it was a Halloween episode because you talked about making the Darth Maul makeup for you, and that you were never really into Halloween. wish I'd known that. Wouldn't have dragged him to all those trunk or treats and stood outside in the cold for hours. But anyway,
I'm
I
sure
was
he liked the
really
candy.
happy because you mentioned me, and it made me feel all special, and I like bragged to other people about it. So, you know.
Nice.
So the follow-up to what you said with communities. Okay, so the last thing they said before you started talking about him being our sugar daddy and the shirt and stuff, he said Steven's mom is perfect, thank you. But then immediately afterwards, we've got I can't afford 15 podcasts and no to the shirt. Please God, no on the shirt. And we've got different opinions on the shirt. So
yeah, I think you're gonna have to do it now.
I think we do.
It's really awkward.
All right, this was our first of these pre-shows. I think we did it. This was a lot of fun. We're gonna throw these up on YouTube for people to watch afterwards. I think it's worth going back and watching. It's been fun.
Yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in and for chatting along and commenting. And that's like really cool to see and kind of
cool.
surreal. So thanks everybody, and thank you so much, Mom, for coming on and telling about me and letting us know.
Maybe I'll adopt you. I will.
Yeah.
You can have a holiday dinner with us.
Starting in February, this is going to be something we do every week on the Patreon, but the rest of January, we're going to do it like we're doing today. So next Thursday, we'll be live again doing something weird. So come hang out with us.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you all soon.
All right, let's go record the podcast. Bye, guys.
Let's go do Weekend 2.